Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday for the 17th of September 2025. It's currently 9 p.m. on the West Coast, 11 p.m. on the East Coast. First of all, remember there's no financial advice, not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees the market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. Now, I recorded this at like 2 p.m. and then when I went to load it up, I realized the sound wasn't on. So I wasted a great deal of time, and now it's 9 p.m. Because after that, the day got away from me. That's how things go. Nothing's as easy as it seems, you know. And anyway, the market has churned really for the last week. It's been some good moves though in certain stocks, and I'm going to go through a bit of it today. The MIN trade, that's still ongoing. Thought we were getting stopped out, as I talked about last week. Got flushed a lot of people, filled this gap exactly nearly to the tick. I don't talk about gaps much, but you know, you could build a whole strategy around gaps, you know, and I know a lot of breakout traders love to sell into gaps when it's a breakout, and they love a gap up above, and I think there's validity in that, and I definitely think there's validity too in buying like gap fills. You know, so if you, like, say for example, you're someone who likes buying retracements, you know, which I got to say, like, it's not my thing yet. Like, I would love to get better at it, but in this life, we all need to know our strengths and our weaknesses, and I just haven't traded retracements heaps, and I've just got a lot of confidence in my ability to trade VCPs and breakout. But it's something that I need to force myself out of my comfort zone, you know, and do it more, because I love the potential of these. And I love, you know, things like this, right? You get confluences together, and confluences in trading is a big common theme. You hear about fib traders, GAN traders, and whatever, retracement traders. They love confluences where, like, you know, a moving average zone might be sitting right near fib retracement levels, right where a gap, and I'm not very good at all that fib crap and blah blah blah. I think my brain is too black and white for that. Okay, but simple things like where a gap's getting filled and it's also sitting on, you know, basically resistance turn support, which is doubling in the moving average supply zone. Then I'm like, okay, you know, I can see myself, there's common sense in retracements like that. But I've rambled, I didn't mean to, but I just think there's merit in where gaps are getting filled, and I might start posting more on the forum about it and stuff. By the way, before I move on to actual what I came here to talk about, the forum, after some nice prodding and ass kicking from various members, which I thank you for, we've got this comp up and running. Okay, obviously this is October's comp. It's just 15th of September, right? I'm not going to launch a comp just for September with 15 days left. So I launched one, and this is the September-October comp. It's going to run until the end of October, obviously. The rules are simple. You post a setup that has not yet broken and has not yet triggered, with your clear plan in place, your exit strategy, your management strategy, your entry trigger. You got to lay it all out, right? There's no hindsight stuff, or, you know, and then when you exit it or get stopped out or take your win, then you need to update it. And if you update it properly, and then I'm going to not pro trader, me and, you know, whoever I can get involved in, probably mainly me, but maybe Matt, Kylie, Joe, maybe Frank, will nominate 3 winners. Might get Craig to help me. He's been bloody amazing help with the forum. Anyway, we'll get to that later, and we'll nominate the 3 ones we think's best, and you guys can vote between those 3 each month, and then the winner will get a $150 gift voucher, right? So good fun. There's been a lot of entries already. Get involved if you haven't yet. Obviously, you're not gonna get rich with a $150 gift voucher, but it's pretty cool. Very nice little gift, and good fun. Okay, so that's that. Check the forum out now. Let's get to it, right? I've already talked about MIN. Still in it. Let's see how she unfolds. Now, a scan I've been doing heaps, and I've talked about this a lot, but just stick with me here, okay? go to scans, go to Darvis boxes. I love this setting on a 7. I love my filters here, close above 200 exponential, relative strength above 70. Put whatever filters you want in terms of volume, which I don't have any there, which I probably should. Volume less than, let's just put 150. All right, and then I'm scanning ASX data. Let's just scan that. All right, so then you got all these results, right? Now, what I do, I put it on 1.5 times and I press play and I scroll through the results, okay? That looks pretty sick if that keeps spacing, and I just add the ones to the watch list I like. I pause it, I add them in. Now, this one scan that's got massive potential just finds so much stuff. Okay, like it's literally, oh, look at that, wow, BCI, I've talked about it before. You know, that covers, it's like, there's just so many, okay? I just do this every day. I do that on the NASDAQ, the NISI, I do it on the ASX. And the number of results here, like you can't possibly trade them all right? The trick is, I'm just going to let this keep playing, right? The trick is to then somehow, let's just spend so many, look at that, holy shit. It's just been, I'm pause it, right? Just because it's hard to talk with this flashing. It's kind of like I'm about to have a seizure or something, okay? So it's impossible to trade all these, okay? How do I figure out what ones to trade? It's a few things. One, I like trying to pick ones with blue sky and no overhead supply when I can. 2, the sector, okay? It's just so much better if it's in the strongest sector. I'm just trying to stack all the odds. 3, I know I've been skeptical about this before, but I think I have pivoted in my opinion. Like, let me show you some examples. BCI, right? I like this base. I mean, it's hard not to like this base. So look at it and think, shit, you know, statistically it's going to be a win-in setup. It's got 2.88 billion of them, okay? And I just think that if you then go and look at the behavior of BCI and how it moves, and you'll see, you know, it's choppy, right? Like, look at this fake breakout here, fake, okay? Fake, not a fake, but a massive, big chop, bang, okay? Here, breakout, bang, bang, kind of fake out, fail, boom, okay? It's like, go back in the history, here again, boom, here. I remember that. I traded that, didn't quite hit my profit target, and I think I'd, you know, break even or whatever. Lovely setup, bang, faked. You know, go back through, like, you know, it's a nice trend there for sure, but actually this is nice back here. Look at that. Wow. I remember that. Shit. That was COVID, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 220. Anyway, so what I'm getting at is that there's a lot of churn in because there's so many shares. Okay. Now, let's go to my favorite trend, which was this trend back here in PME, okay? Now, PME has 104 million, right? Not a bigger market cap, obviously, but 104 million of them. So it's tightly held and there's less churning, right? And that is a very simplistic breakdown of kind of number of shares issued and why a lot of people stay away from stocks that say have over 1 billion issued shares, okay? And I guess, like, you know, the classic example is like stocks that do cap raises, you know, all the time. Like, if they're in cap raises, you know, you're doing cap raises, like FAR's an exact example, but they did a restructuring, didn't they? But there are some stocks that literally have like 10 billion shares because they just keep doing cap raises. And, you know, remember, like, if you need to raise cash, then it's because you've got a shit business, or maybe you've got a great business with awesome prospects, but you're not really printing cash, are you? You know, like, it's, you know, no one's going to go raise money if their cash flow, you know, their free cash flow yield is out the yin yang, are they? You know, because and then they're just going to dilute their shareholding down, which is shortchanging yourself, right? It's like shorting your own company. Okay, so you know, blah blah blah. I've got distracted, but I love, you know, these days I am concentrating, I must admit, on stocks that have less shares issued, and that was a really long way of explaining that, and a lot of rambling, and probably a little bit of it quite incoherent, you know. But is that now that scan? There's just so many in there. I'm not going to talk about all the setups. Look, that's going on. I know the founder's trying to buy it back. That's, you know, Harvey Norman. You know, nothing would stop me taking that you know, new Darvis break. I just don't care. It's blue sky above it, big gap up, boom. You know, there's everything. Everyone thinks it's gone too hard, it's too late. I mean, probably not, guys. Like, you know, if it gives me a Darvis break with blue sky, I'll probably take it if I've got cash lying around. I'll keep going. But I can't go through them all, but let me just flick to a few that are in that result list. ZIM, massive rally, big volume, kind of a nice tight base. If you look here, it's probably about a 33% retracement of that move. I just guessed that. I could get my fib out, but I couldn't be bothered. It's a pretty tight retracement, okay? No massive big volume bars selling it on red bars, and horizontal resistance line, which I like the most, and kind of blue sky above it, right? Boom, right? Hot sector too, precious metals, love precious metals at the moment, and so that is basing. Let's see if this can churn around and then break out, okay? What was another one in that list? I've already talked about BCI, okay? You know, it's tempting. It's tempting. The question is there a smarter place for my cash that has less shares on issue and therefore might rally faster with less churning? Okay, that's the question I need to ask, I need to conquer, and I need to figure it out, and that's an individual thing. Let's go to PDN, okay? I know it's done a big cap raise down here at 724 something, I forget. Don't quote me on that price, but it's about down here. Hasn't, usually, obviously, people know this, but the price loves to go down to that or below, and it hasn't yet, which could maybe a bullish sign, and kind of a cup and handle pattern. You can, call that whatever you want. It's not in the right position for head and shoulders, but it's all similar shit, okay? And people get pedantic about the names of these things, but, you've got head, you've got, shoulder, head, shoulder, you've got cup handle, whatever the hell you want to call it. The fact of the matter is you've got a VCP, you've got a base, and you've got a horizontal resistance line. Don't overthink it. Is it a good base? Is it a good sector? Is there good risk reward? Okay, and for me, it's like, okay, stop here. Up here is a realistic target. That's pretty good risk reward. Okay, so looking at that. Now, Craig posted PLY, and it's just a banging setup, and I thank him for posting it. Okay, PLY, for those members, right, who are around back here, let's just go back, okay, when it floated, okay, it was a classic float, wasn't it? Right? I remember talking about it heaps at the time, where a lot of us were trading this rally, it was epic, then it's just done nothing, turned down, and it's like, long-term investors have lost money, okay? Whatever. And then now we look at a weekly chart, got hammered, and it's come down and it's forming this nice base. Now, Weinstein liked to look at the 30-week simple moving average. So I've got the 30 set there, don't I? Yeah, 30-week, boom. So he'd like to see that come down with this sideways bases, and then he wanted to see this flatten and start pointing up, okay? And then once it started pointing up, he knew that it had based long enough, and then the base was mature enough for a nice uptrend to begin. Okay, and so there is rhyme and reason behind that moving average needing to flatten out and start turning up. It's like he's not interested in this. See this moving average that's pointing down. So he's not going to pick a bottom here. He's not going to pick a bottom here or 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 here, because statistically it's in a long-term downtrend. Okay, on a weekly chart, the 30 moving average, week moving average is pointing down. But if you put an arrow on the end of this, now it's pointing sideways, and soon it might be pointing up. And then, shit, I've got to go in a second. There is a running race on at 9:20 that I have to watch, so I'm going to be out of here in a sec. He wants to see an arrow pointing up, okay? So PLY, massive base, and I'm going to be all over that if it breaks out. Let's go to another Davis box in that thing. EOS, okay? Weekly chart is a bit overdone. Holy shit, though. It is tight, and this thing has just gone nuts from $3 to $6 to $8. What's to stop that going to $13, guys? I don't know. Nothing. Now, another thing I want to point out, JB Hi-Fi. Okay, JB Hi-Fi is in a box, okay, which came up in that scan. But just boxes are just great. This scan's just great because you go finding little sneaky little things. And I didn't trade this, but, it's probably a pretty high probability little setup. You've got a Davis box with a long-term uptrend. You've got this little kind of descending triangle pattern that you can trade out of, okay? Just little short-term, scalps that make sense. LCY, hot sector, okay, hot sector setting up here. It's in a Davis box. It came up in that same scan. You can go and kind of like, do these ones or just put your horizontal resistance, whatever. But this, once again, this last Davis box was 1034. It rallied to 15, okay? well, maybe this bases for a long wait time and then here and it rallies to 25. Okay, just got to open your mind to the fact, okay, that in a bull market, these things, there's just a fortune to be made if you just get these things and just be patient, okay? Because I think a lot of money is lost in people who just aren't willing to buy a damn breakout and sit tight. Like, sit on your damn hands, do jack shit, stop looking at live screens, stop looking at your phone all the bloody time, and just go to work, okay? Or if you're not working, do something to keep yourself busy, okay? To distract yourself from being an idiot, okay? And selling, because I'm telling you, I've met hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of traders over the years, and it is the one thing that kills people the most, is that they get in something like this and then they do something stupid like sell on day 3, and then the thing rallies and they don't make all the money that they should have, and it's totally their fault, right? But you've got to be harsh on yourself. You've got to recognize you're doing that. I still do it sometimes, by the way. I used to do it all the time. But you need to be harsh on yourself like a ruthless business person, okay? Fix it and don't do it again, okay? Now, shit, I'm talking way too much. I'm just going to give me 1 second. I'm going to pause this. All right, let's just rattle through this. MGX. MGX has 1.18 billion, and it seems to always chop me out, MGX. So I don't have an awesome track record with it, to be honest. But it came up in that scan, thought it was worthwhile talking about. What was there? PNR. All these little gold stocks are still coming up in this scan. So, you know, it's interesting. SFR is another one that came up. TAH is another one that came up. Just so many. WIA, another Goldie that came up. There's just, you see the problem? Like, so many possible entries, but, you know, you can't take them all. You know, if you're like me, I like having, you know, 3 or 4 big trades, and that's it, okay? If you're like Polo or Poco on the forum, and he likes having 30 trades all at once, okay? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that it's horses for courses. We're all different, right? And you know, what else was there? Shit. Sorry, guys. I paused that then. It's the World Athletics Championship at the moment, and there was a 1500 meter final on. So my favourite sport in the world, so I had to watch it. Before I get out of here, there's 2 US stocks I'm looking at, but I've talked a lot about that Dava scan. Just a quick reminder on how good the candle scan is for inside range bars, okay? So I'm putting the filters on at the moment of these, okay, 200 move in and a 75 RS, okay? And then I'm doing that scan kind of at least a couple times a week. And look, and then it brings up a lot of results, okay? It brings up a lot of these little penny stocks too, because that's just how they trade. But there was one I wanted to show you, and I think Greg's been chatting about this in the forum anyway. So, and I'm not saying this is like best setup in the history of setups, but I love it how it finds these little tight, exciting ranges where you get this bar and then all these little ones, and I'm not, you know, this isn't something I'd be in for months at a time and looking for a massive move, but I think it's an awesome position and scanner for, you know, anyone who loves to just scalp every now and then, you know, or on a regular basis, like you're just buying a tick above here, you know, when it opens just below here, and then having a stop and a profit target of about 2 to 1, relatively tight stop, you know, profit target around here, and trading it. And, you know, I've got this system which I'll go into more if anyone's interested, but it's where I kind of trade US stocks using a similar strategy, liquid ones, and using pretty much the inside bar rules. And I set automated kind of buy stop, automated take profit using brackets, and it's all automated. It all happens for me. I don't have to I never actually look at it. The orders are placed before the market opens. I go to bed and I wake up and I've either kind of won or lost, or the trade's still going. And, you know, it's all based on about a 2 to 1 RR, and, and this is the scan I love to find it. I just thought it'd be interesting. I want to talk about that a little bit. Happy to talk about it more on the forum if people want. On the US market, chatting on the forum, there's a pretty cool thread that I'm kind of actually, it's really helping me here, US setups, and it wasn't me that started this thread. It was, I think it was Tom, wasn't it? Tom, and it's pretty cool. Like I find myself checking it out all the time to see what Tom's posting, because he's pretty good. He's got a pretty good eye for stocks. Okay, and I encourage everyone to get on there, because it's just, there's some good members out there, right? Anyway, I like ALNT, the big volume on this day, which was earnings. I think they had like 33% increase in margins, and earnings was up massively. I forget, I was reading it the other night, but anyway, and now it's just tightening. Okay, ascending triangle, whatever you want to call it. This also comes up in the same inside bar scan I was just showing you guys. Okay, tightening. Let's see if it can break out. And the other one was JBI on the NISI, which is likewise. Okay, it's self-explanatory, isn't it? And that is all. Okay, I still think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities in these big AI leaders, and I think AI is just getting started, and I think we all need to be incredibly wary and working hard to get those opportunities to make big moves, because there's going to be some exciting stocks and exciting companies come out of this AI stuff, and I think it's such early days in AI. But we don't want this stretched out shit. Look at this, right? Google, okay? That is just so perfect, all right? This is where we want these guys, these suckers down here, all right? Okay, I've talked way too long, 22 minutes, catch ya.